A jury of 5 women and 1 man were sworn in and began to hear evidence and competing theories about the day that John Thompson was arrested during a lockdown at North Memorial Hospital in 2019. That was a year before Thompson was elected to the legislature from a district on the east side of St. Paul. He has consistently maintained he's innocent and was only taken to court because police and hospital staff did not know how to respond to a black man with a larger-than-life personality. Now, prosecutor Derek Archambault told jurors today that Thompson argued with hospital staff and Robbinsdale officers because he couldn't get into the emergency room, and that Thompson briefly blocked the door as an officer tried to shut it. A little later, he said Thompson argued with the sergeant and the two traded insults, and the sergeant needed extra help putting cuffs on Thompson because his body tensed up. Now, defense attorney John Kushner told the jurors Thompson reacted because he thought staff and police were racist for not letting black relatives into the ER. And he was also upset because he thought the staff overreacted simply because the crowd was black. He said Thompson did not resist arrest, but reacted at first to the arm pain while being restrained because he'd had a shoulder surgery the year before. When the trial resumes on Monday, jurors will see the body camera footage of the interaction between Sergeant Woodall and Thompson's arrest. From the Hennepin County Government Center, I'm John Croman.